The cognitive capabilities of students that are outsourcing their essay writing to ChatGPT, they're losing their brain capabilities. Like, that's happening right now every day.
No, it was a war of words. It was a war of persuasion. It was a war of influence.
You have 2 parents, 4 grandparents. You go back 10 generations, you have 1,024 10th grade grandparents. There's millions of people that preceded you.
So the biggest problem in life, or the biggest problem in sales, is the problem that you don't know you have. Because if you don't know what your problem is, how do you do anything about changing it?
And so you are a unique combination of DNA from survivors, people who have sacrificed and built a life and procreated and passed on, hopefully a better life for their children and grandchildren.
And what does a successful person do? They make different decisions than somebody who's unsuccessful.
The school system was never designed to say, Catalina, what makes you unique? And Jeremy, what makes you unique?
You don't have a fear of public speaking. You have a fear that people will judge you watching you speak. Fear of judgment.
Actually, a growing percentage of people don't have any real world friends. There's a loneliness epidemic.
But the brain was never designed for us to thrive. The brain was designed to simply keep us safe.
The biggest wave of human transformation is coming, and are you going to surf that wave, or are you going to get crushed by that wave?
Hi guys, we have 2 brilliant minds here. We're going to start, you're both known for unlocking human potential. We're going to start with Jeremy. You're closer.
Let's do it.
Jeremy Miner, through sales psychology and being the founder of the 7th Level, an international sales training company recognized by Selling Power as the largest B2C sales training firm in the world. Jeremy's approach is rooted in behavioral science, teaching professionals to become problem finders and problem solvers rather than product pushers. He is also one of the wealthiest sales professionals on the planet, earning multiple 7 figures annually. That's what happens when you're a great salesperson. His new Wall Street Journal, you're a little bit like,
That was back in my sales career. I don't like talking about
it's very down to earth.
That was back in my sales career.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
The New Model of Selling, that's your book. Selling to an Unsellable Generation. I need to have that. I'm going to buy it. It's available in all major bookstores, by the way. In addition to his training expertise, Jeremy is the host of the Next Level podcast with Jeremy Miner, where he shares insights and strategies on sales and human behavior to help professionals elevate their performance. Thank you for coming, and we're going to go to the next guest. Cherry on top of the cake, we also have Paul Allen here with us. Paul is a visionary entrepreneur, best known as the founder of Ancestry.com.
The DNA guy, as I would say.
The DNA guy.
That's right.
Right. The world's largest genealogy platform, which has helped over 1 million people discover their family history. And fun fact, I actually am I think it's Ancestry.com that helped me find out that I'm related to Dracula also.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. Who's also connected to King Charles.
Wow.
So, in other words, thanks to you.
Lord Dracula.
I know. Like,
there you go.
Thanks to your platform, I realize I'm the most down-to-earth, royal-blooded person on earth.
Wow.
So,
how has that changed your life? You're related to the
I am royal-blooded.
It's a little bit
without
dark
a castle.
in here, yeah. Should be good. Lord Dracula, real person, crazy.
Oh, back to Paul's bio. He's built and scaled multiple tech companies, from Infobases to myfamily.com to the viral We're Related Facebook app. We were keeping it busy, which reached 120 million users. He later served as global strengths evangelist at Gallup. Wow. Promoting the Clifton Strengths Assessment that's now being taken by over 30 million people worldwide. Today, Paul leads Soar.com. Is that your teacher?
Soar.com. Yeah.
Very cool. An AI company that helps people identify their strengths, purpose, and potential, advancing his mission to build AI that uplifts humanity. He's received numerous awards, including Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and continues to speak globally on heritage, identity, and human-centered innovation. Okay, you guys.
What have you not done?
What have you not
What has he not
done?
done? We got to do a bio with things that he's not done.
Gosh, and I try to summarize, and I took a
good.
bunch out. But I quote the apnews.com. The global leader in sales training, founded by Jeremy Miner, has officially entered into a strategic partnership with Workplace AI to launch 7Q, an AI-powered sales enablement platform built on the NEPQ methodology. 7Q is designed to give sales professionals real-time guidance in Jeremy Miner's proven NEPQ framework, delivering coaching and answers in the flow of conversation. By combining 7 levels world-class training content into Workplace AI's advanced technology, the platform aims to redefine how sales are thought, practiced, and scaled across industries. So tell me more about this platform. How did it come about? How did you guys meet? Let's start there.
When was it, like 8 months ago?
I think it was February.
Yeah, February. We, I don't remember how it even started. People ask me the other day, I'm like, I'm not really sure how we met, but somehow one of your representatives, I don't know,
Someone on your team,
of my representatives,
someone on my team.
because we were looking for, like, when I saw AI, my vision was, how do I duplicate myself? Because, I started the company about 5 years ago, and I'm like, the first couple of years, I didn't know anything about AI. I guess it was in the beginning roots of it. And I was just like, to duplicate me, like, I'm going to have to, like, go hire all these, like, sales trainers out in the world and, like, have licensing with them. And I'm like, that seems like a lot of work. That could take, like, 20 or 30 years. And, like, I'm impatient. Yeah. I want to be there now. And so when I saw AI, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can have now 10 million of me training everybody in the world, influence, persuasion, sales. So I had this vision of, I usually have visions first, and then I try to figure out, like, what to do about it second. Does that make sense? So my mind starts racing, and then I believe that one of your representatives or one of our representatives reached out. We started talking, and all of a sudden, like, I think a week and a half later, he was in our office, and we were signing a partnership, and we started building it.
Brilliant combination.
Yeah. Plus, I know, I didn't know this guy, but I had my corporate career in Utah with a company called Vivint, and our campus was, like, right next to Ancestry.com. So I literally drove by this guy's campus, like, every day of my life. So 20 years later, here we are.
And the fact that you are from a place where he used to live, and then
he was born in Missouri. I lived in Missouri.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, but now you live in Arizona.
It was meant to be.
But Jeremy's approach to scaling. If you think about the world's best sales training, and how many lives it will change if people actually get the training and do it. So the thing that I'm obsessed with is that global workforce training is a $400 billion a year industry. We all invest in training employees, leaders, and managers, and most of them don't change their performance after the training because they have to have follow-up, they have to have feedback, they have to have coaching. So to take the world's best sales training and combine it with AI that understands how well they're performing and gives them feedback after every call is game-changing. This could scale to any number of people to actually learn it, do it, and reap the benefits of doing it right.
And it's all about the lives that change. It's like, learning persuasion and influence. Because I always say, like, everyone's in sales, right? It doesn't matter if you're a salesperson that gets paid a commission, or if you're a person that doesn't even get paid a commission for anything. I call that non-sales selling. Everybody's out there trying to, persuade and influence and move others to their way of thinking. So, like, if you're an entrepreneur and you're, like Paul obviously has been at a great level, and you're trying to catch, get your employees to catch your vision of where you want to take your company, what are you trying to do? You're trying to persuade, you're trying to influence, you're trying to move others. If you're an attorney trying to convince a judge your client's innocent, you're trying to persuade, you're trying to influence. Like, if you're a teacher trying to get your kids to do their homework, you're trying to persuade, influence. So everything is persuasion, influence, and having that ability to go out there and, like, teach people how to do that the right way for the good of humanity, that, like, helps people get what they want, and be able to duplicate that is, I think that's why we came together.
That is. And talking about humanity, how do you ensure technology amplifies humanity rather than replacing it?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are a lot of companies that are putting billions of dollars into creating robots and AI that will replace people. And they will be successful to some degree. Right. There's a famous novelist named Kurt Vonnegut in 1952. So he's a famous novelist. He's written a lot of books that most people have read. His first book ever in 1952 was called Play Your Piano. He worked at a GE factory, GE factory for 6 years, and then he became a novelist. And he saw machines. He saw machines doing amazing things. So he was the first human, probably, to ever envision a world where machines made everything and humans made nothing. Play Your Piano was a great metaphor for what he envisioned. A dystopian future where machines did it all and the piano played itself. Therefore, you need no pianist, you need no workers. So it's a dystopian novel.
Yes.
And of course, some people will aim for that. But I think AI is perfectly positioned to help every human become their best self.
Yeah.
With coaching, with feedback, with decision and guidance. The personalization capabilities of AI allow the best tutoring and mentoring and coaching. So that when you capture Jeremy's brain and the tens of thousands of hours that he and his team have spent in every single known industry, and you capture all that expertise and then make it available to anybody 24/7, anybody can get way better faster than ever before at NEPQ than has ever been possible before. So it's a great partnership, and it will lead humans to get extraordinarily good at communication, at connecting, at asking questions and persuading.
I view AI as I always say the greatest in the world, and I've learned this from a mentor of mine, Tony Robbins, say that you recognize patterns. So what patterns do we recognize? So humans are very adaptable. We always adapt. When things happen, we always adapt. When the Industrial Revolution, was there, everybody thought that there'd be no jobs and everything would take over. And then there was other things. There's always been these patterns where humans adapt, and there's always new industries created from new things that happen. Like when the internet came out, I remember I just got off my mission for the church and I was getting into sales, and the whole thing in 2000, 2001 in that area was like, oh, the internet's going to take out salespeople. There's not going to be a need for any sales. And all that did was create industries that didn't even exist. So I believe that AI will actually create industries that do not exist right now, that will exist over the next couple of years, 5, 10 years, and it will create millions and millions of more jobs. I actually do. I believe as a salesperson, once you learn to have a high EQ, you're going to stand out compared to anybody else, because that's not something, unless I'm teaching AI how to have empathy and those type of things, that AI can actually do right now yet. It has to be taught how to do that. So I think if you're a salesperson, you learn how to have a really good EQ, emotional intelligence there, you're going to dominate.
That is key.
Yeah.
We're still in the skeptical phase, right? It's because of the trust. So in that era of, where the trust is rare in media, tech, all of that, health industry, even sales. How can AI and behavioral science together rebuild human trust?
Your thoughts?
So I think that most of the institutions that we've all lost trust in are not trustworthy. They're not. They're not telling the truth. They're not doing the right thing. I mean, if you think about Americans' view of corruption in government, we vote every couple of years, but the percentage of people in the United States that think a government is corrupt is equivalent to African dictatorships thinking that their government's corrupt. It's 75% of Americans think our government's corrupt.
No matter who gets voted in.
So, and the news media, are they trustworthy? Look at all the data that analyzes their extreme left or extreme right. The social media algorithms amplify the polarized content. So there are a lot of institutions that have lost our trust. So how do you bring trust? You tell people the truth, and you give them things that work, and then they try it and it works, and they reap the benefits of having good information that they can act on, and they get the rewards, and then they'll share that with their friends. So the thing I've always done in every company I've started is something called viral engineering or viral marketing. You build a product that gets better as people share it, and the more people share it, the more value there is in the network. And so with Ask Jeremy and with this launch, people who start using it will tell their colleague, I just had a really challenging sales question. I asked Jeremy, this is what it told me. I acted on it. It worked. And now I
trust.
Yeah, that's where the trust will come from.
Yeah,
that's
trust comes from results, right? If you can show results, you start to trust that person knows what they're talking about, or that company knows what they're talking about. Trust comes from results.
Right, and we're having this route where you see the major AI companies, there's no transparency. We don't really know how much energy are you going to use. What is the budget? What are so many, like, do we have any laws in place? So with all that, now we have this new emerging company. How will they trust you right off the bat? The results, that's a great...
results, we have in our space, sales, persuasion, influence, we have a pretty reputable brand. We get tens of thousands of testimonies. We have the founder of Ancestry.com, a very reputable company, and soared with Paul.
Well, and thankfully, our chief AI officer, Dr. Fatma Tarlachi, is in Austin, Texas. She's got a PhD. She was at OpenAI in 2019 when they were training GPT-2, and she teaches at Texas A&M, but she's lecturing all over the world about responsible ethical AI. So
nice.
When you talk about trust, she is an expert at building AI systems that are trustworthy, that are responsible and ethical. We have something we call pure AI, personalized, uplifting, responsible, ethical. So if we can build that kind of system in partnership with Seventh Level and with Jeremy, the results will speak for themselves. The transparency will be there. The responsible, ethical AI will be there.
I always say, I ask if up on stage would say, is selling something you do 2 people or selling something you do 4 people? Is selling something you do 2 people or selling something you do 4 people? In my mind, it's 4 people because people have problems, companies have problems. And if I'm selling something like a great product, service, or whatever that can solve their problems and get where they want to be, I'm actually doing that for them. I'm not doing that to them like it's a bad thing. Now, why does society view, salespeople as like bad? Because if I asked you like, in society, are salespeople or anybody who tries to persuade, are they viewed at like a high status or more of a low status? What would you say? High status or low status, realistically?
High.
No, I would say low status.
Are you talking about...
Like if I asked
pushing
the general public, how do you feel about a salesperson?
Yeah, they're usually in the
low status. But the question is, but why? Why does society view salespeople at a low status?
Because they're pushy and repetitive and,
And you feel like they're doing it to you.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's an agenda and there's, you don't really, the trust.
Exactly. But the question is, if nothing is sold, that means there's no such thing as an economy. If nothing's sold or bought, there's no such thing as economy. If there's no economy, there's really no such thing as a functioning society. If I look back in the history of the world, right? So it's not that the salespeople are bad, it's how they were taught to sell. The techniques trigger sales resistance and cause that reaction.
Who taught them though?
That's a whole nother That's a whole nother 10-hour
what makes them be
conversation. A lot of sales comes back from a form of what's called the AIDA model of selling: attention, interest, desire, action. It actually comes from like the 1880s. It's like they sold circuses. It's a whole lot of stuff. I'm like legitimately like that's P.T. Barnum. The first sales model actually came from Saint Elmo Elias Lewis in like 1883. Yeah, it's a form of the AIDA of selling. You ever seen that movie Glenn Ross, where he's up on the Alec Baldwin's on the chalkboard and he's like, AIDA, like he says, put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers. You seen that?
No.
But I've heard about it.
You guys have seen that, yeah. So that's where that comes from. But people love to buy. They just don't want to feel like they're being sold. And so it's like, how do you emotionally connect with that other human being or human beings where they feel like you understand them, their needs, their desires, their wants, you even understand their fears, and you do that without coming across judgmental, because they will not buy, and you do that without buying into their story or their limiting beliefs. Because if I buy into the limiting beliefs of why they can't get started or why they can't do this, then I offer them no value. I wasted their time because their problems stay the same and they don't get what they want. That makes sense?
It makes sense. And you're here to change history.
You're
here to change the game, Jeremy.
In my mind, communication is the number one skill set anybody, but you have to learn how to communicate, because if I think about what causes wars in the world, a lack of what? Communication.
Yeah.
That causes wars. So like, how do you communicate? Like Stephen R. Covey, first seek to understand, then be understood. There's something to that. Humanity benefits when we try to understand each other. Not that we have to agree, but how do we understand each other to come in that middle ground? You see what I'm saying? Like, I look at persuasion, and people the way I look at it is like persuasion's always been around. Like if you look like in the scriptures, like the war of heaven, you know, it talks about a third of the host of heaven was cast onto the earth from heaven, and it said there was a war. But has anybody thought about how the war was fought? Was it fought with tanks? Was it fought with swords? Was it fought with guns or bullets? No, it was a war of words. It was a war of persuasion. It was a war of influence. That's how that war is fought. And I believe that mankind has a war to fight here to learn those skills as well.
It's funny that you brought up Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
He was my Sunday school teacher for 4 months.
I did not know that.
And seek first to understand. What Jeremy's getting at is that persuasion and pushiness can be reversed. You can be listening and asking questions to deeply understand the other person. And that's the right way to engage in a sales conversation, is like deeply understand. And if your solution is the solution to their problem and their pain, then you go forward with it. But I think the Covey approach of seek first to understand, but also the John Maxwell approach of ask great questions. And I think that's what Jeremy has taken. He's brought psychology and emotional questioning into this conversation that leads to immediate trust, and it leads to those good outcomes that benefit both parties.
It gets the guard down where they open up. I always say everyone on this planet who's ever been born, who lives here now, whoever will live, we all wear a mask. Every human being wears a mask. So how do you get the mask off? How do you get them to want to take the mask off and open up to you and tell you what's really going on? That is what communication and persuasion is, if you do it for good. You could also do it manipulate, but it's like which side are you going to choose? You know, I decided a long time ago that I'm not here to I'm here to help somebody get where they want to be, and for me to be able to do that, for me to be able to get their guard down, for me to be able to get them to open up, I have to learn how to communicate in a way where they feel comfortable and trust me, and I have to do that. If I don't know how to do that, they stay guarded, and I cannot help them. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
I like that you also have that, besides wisdom, patience. Give people that second.
Patience is a virtue.
You do have that, I can tell.
That's somebody.
And you just talked about open up, and that would be a great name for a podcast, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. You read my mind. I read it right behind you, right there. And talking about, again, with that trust, what are some tips for partnering with the right people?
That's a great question, actually. It really is. Because there are a lot of people that will, seek for a partnership, or they'll try to take advantage. So I've been taken advantage of many times. I was kind of a naive entrepreneur early on, didn't understand the sophisticated world and the small print. So you kind of learn by experience. But I found that the phrase uplift humanity is bringing us the most amazing investors, employees, partners, and customers. There's something about broadcasting or signaling what it is that you're about. And if you're about doing good and helping everyone become their best self and live their best life, I think that's part of how we found each other, is that his team and my team connected at that level. And now we're connecting at a technology level that's very scalable. But I think put out what you're aiming for that's positive. And then I think like attracts alike.
Yeah. Our mission, when you walk into our corporate headquarters, and it's not a mission statement, a lot of mission statements, like, you're like, oh my gosh, it sounds like everybody else's. At least when I read a mission statement, I'm like, it seems kind of generic. Ours is like to change the way sales and persuasion is perceived in society, one human and one company at a time. And that's why I started this, to change the way it is viewed in society.
It's a big goal.
Because I believe I know it's a good thing, because we help people get where they want to be. And I have to learn how to communicate to be able to do that. What's the reason why somebody doesn't buy anything? Or what's the reason why, you tell, grandma, you need to really stop smoking, and grandma never stops smoking, even though she knows it's going to kill her? What is the reason? Because deep down, the core of every human being, the reason why we procrastinate, the reason why we don't do something we know we should do, is because we have a fear of change. So every objection, if you're trying to get somebody to do something for you, whatever, it comes down to any excuse they give you is they have a fear of change. Okay. Why do they have a fear of change? Because they have to pay you money to be able to see what's on the other side of that change. They don't know it's, so our, I call it the mind, the brain, is like this brain that, God put in us whenever the first humans were on the earth, millions of years. I don't know how long ago that was. That's debatable. But the brain was never designed for us to thrive. The brain was designed to simply keep us safe, to keep us comfortable where we're at, survival. Okay, so anytime the brain feels like there's a change coming on, even if we know like it could be a good thing, it's like the brain's last attempt to try to keep you in that same status quo that it's already comfortable with. So how do I help them overcome that way of thinking? Be like a patient, if I'm a psychologist, a patient that says they want to end their life. How do I help them overcome that way of thinking and help them change that belief system into a new way of thinking? That's really what selling is. It's the same as saving a patient's life that wants to commit suicide. It's the same thing.
Showing them you care. People don't know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right?
Yeah. And it's building them into that identity of the person who, if it's a patient, how do I build them? How do I take this belief system? Because if I say, grandma don't smoke, what's it like if she's going to stop? It's unlikely. But how do I take grandma and build her into the identity of the person who would never want to smoke anymore? How do I get it to make it where it's her idea rather than my idea? But I'm doing that for her, not to her. You see the difference? So patient wants to commit suicide. If I say you shouldn't do that, in one ear, out the other. So how do I take them out of that belief system that obviously is not good and reframe them into a new belief system on why they feel it'd be crazy for them to end their life? That's really what communication selling is.
It is. In other words, would that be if two people are talking, there are actually six, the one who's talking, the one who's perceived by whomever's listening, and the one that's deep inside that we kind of, that inner voice that we don't really, sometimes we don't listen to, although we should. So you got to tap into that inner voice, but how do you get there?
That's the mask. How do you get them to take the mask off and be who they really are? That's what communication is at a high level.
The fact that you've mastered that is
I don't know if I've mastered it. I would say that none of us will master it in this life. I think there are different levels to the ball game.
Got pretty close.
But I'm not sure anybody will master it in this life 100%. Maybe in the next, I don't know.
I would say that his decades of studying psychology, or his many years of studying psychology and his decades in sales, that fusion is really interesting to me. I've studied the life work of someone that I consider the greatest psychologist who's ever lived, and that's Dr. Don Clifton, who died in 2003, but he invented the Clifton Strengths Assessment, that StrengthsFinder assessment. 35 million people have taken it. The reason that I think Jeremy's getting to the core of something really important in human connection, human communication, is he talks about how people perceive their identity to be. And if their identity has limiting self-beliefs, you have to communicate and ask questions to get them to think differently and to rewire their mindset about who they are. Don Clifton's work, 35 million people have taken this 177 question assessment. They know what their top 5 greatest talents are. Their talents or strengths, how they think, how they feel, how they act in repeated patterns. So Don got to the root of identity by helping people see that they have more talent and potential than they thought they had. Jeremy gets to identity so to find limiting beliefs that have to be rewired through conversation and questioning so that the person comes out not only ready to buy, but they're a different person. They have fewer limiting beliefs than they had before. So his psychology and sales communication technique is amazing. And it just needs to scale to millions or hundreds of millions of people.
It's so Sigmund Freud said it best. People do who they believe they are, meaning people make decisions based on the identity of the person who they believe they are, right? So if this is one reason why, with Alcoholics Anonymous, that I'm always like, why do they not understand this? The reason why a lot of people relapse in that is because they sit there and they say, they tell you in meetings, I'm an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober 30 years. So basically you still believe the identity of the person who's an alcoholic, and people make decisions based on the identity of the person who they believe they are. So you still believe you're an alcoholic. So what does alcoholics do? They go back and drink. That's why it doesn't work. Because that's their identity. So how do I take the identity of a prospect and build them into the identity of the person who becomes a buyer? So let's say that you're selling anything. I don't even know. You're selling something and the person has tried that in the past with another company and they're like, I tried this in the past, it didn't work out. A salesperson might think that's a negative thing, but I look at that as that's their identity. So I might say, wow, it sounds like you're, and let's say they're on a sales call with me. Wow, it sounds like you're the type of person that never gives up. So I'm just reframing what that means, right? So if they believe like, oh my gosh, I've tried this in the past, it hasn't worked, what objection would I probably get at the end? Your thing won't work either. So I'm going to reframe the way thinking starts. Like, wow, it sounds like you're the type of person that never gives up. I talk to see, and I'm going to go into that frame and change that way of thinking that, hey, you're here on the call with me. So that obviously means you don't give up. I'm not going to say those words, but you see, I'm starting to frame them into a different identity that instead of being a negative thing that it didn't work out, it's a positive thing because they've never given up and they're here right now.
Especially with the flattering introduction, because people always tend to listen more if you're flattered.
Yeah, because I'm going to be like, wow, it sounds like you're the type of person that never gives up. Let's say I'm selling to a consumer, your spouse, he's lucky to have an independent woman like you that is that forward thinking and knows she has to make the hard decisions for her career herself. Because I talk to a lot of people and you'd be surprised how many of them, they let some like negative thing with some bad coach or company like completely take them away from their dreams. You know what I mean? I mean, never giving up, like being that forward thinking, is that something like you were born with or something you had to learn? So say I'm shifting the identity. So if I'm talking to a woman like independent, forward thinking, knows she has to make the hard decisions herself, So I'm deframing like a spouse objection. There's a whole lot of things I'm doing there, but anyways, I don't want to bore everybody.
No, I think that's going to make an amazing reel. And I'm actually, so the way my brain works, while I'm listening, I'm also thinking about the next question, but right now I'm stuck with...
Do you know why you can do that?
Why?
Because women are able, you've heard women can multitask. So you can think of like different things at the same time. Men, it's very hard for us. We have to think of one thing and get that out, and then we can think of something else.
Is that not a myth? Because sometimes I feel like it's a myth.
It's not a myth.
Like you asked me a question, and I just didn't. So I'm like, wait, I didn't even wait.
No,
I didn't listen to the whole.
Like you literally, like your brain is a female's brain is different than a male's brain. So a male's brain is more like this, like horse finders.
One thing at a time.
Women can think of like multiple things at the same time and talk. It's an amazing skill.
I'm thinking about the strengths test because I was in the DIA training, and that was one of the tests that we took. I wonder if that's it's Don Clifton,
Dr. Donald O. Clifton.
Yeah, so the government uses this test. Interesting.
Like 35 million. So in colleges all across the country, 700,000 freshmen take it every year as they start school because it's in hundreds of universities. And it's a great thing for someone that's 18 or 19 years old before they get into their career or even their major. Like, what are you good at naturally? And Don was really clear on this. Find your natural talent and then invest in skills and training so that you can have the benefit of both. My daughter is a concert pianist. She's been played with the symphony twice. She's won all these competitions. And everyone's like, she's so talented. Yeah, and she works 10 hours a day. Like she'll practice sometimes before a concert, 5-10 hours a day for weeks on end to perfect her art. So you need talent. You need to know what talents you have. And then you need to combine it with an investment in training. Yeah. And now with AI, for the first time in human history, you take your talent, you get the best coach or trainer you can, and now you have an AI that helps you achieve mastery and excellence of the training you've invested in.
And know how to sell yourself while you're at it by using your guys' platform.
Even if you're not in sales, it's all about how you communicate. So, like if you're his daughter, there's a lot of great, people that play instruments. So how do you position yourself? How is your value perceived differently by maybe the symphony that's interviewing 600 people for this one spot? How is her perception of the value different? It's all going to be in how her perception is how she communicates her skills, not just the skills itself. Oh yeah, that's a big deal. Like that determines everything that happens in your life. It's not how good you are at something, but it's how you communicate that depends on where you're going to be.
Oh yeah, that is so
think about all the people in a boardroom, and you've got think about all the workers that have all these great ideas, but then another person gets their idea through that's horrible. They were just much better at communicating that idea. So their perceived value, the perception of the value is much stronger just because they know how to communicate it compared to the actual value itself. So it's never about the value, it's the perception of the value. Perception of the value comes from how you communicate. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's mic drop.
We're having fun.
Whoa. That's amazing. I really like that, and it's so true. I always
Everything.
thought that. I'm like, it's if you go there confident,
parenting,
you just
relationships, marriage, everything comes down to how you communicate.
So true.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to ask some individual questions. Should we start with Paul this time?
Sure.
Yeah. You've spent your life helping people understand their past through ancestry and now their purpose through AI. What patterns have you noticed about what people are really seeking when they trace their roots and explore their strengths?
That's interesting. So Alex Haley, who wrote Roots, the novel, and then it turned into a miniseries in the 70s. I think I was 11 or 12 when Roots came out on TV, and I think it was like the most watched TV program in history. But Alex Haley said that in each human, there is a deep hunger, marrow deep, to know our identity, to know our heritage and our stories. And it's kind of cool. If you do the math, you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents. You go back 10 generations, you have 1,024 10th great grandparents. There's millions of people that preceded you. And so you are a unique combination of DNA from survivors, people who have sacrificed and built a life and procreated and passed on, hopefully a better life for their children and grandchildren. That's really what all parents aim for, is like they want to provide not just equivalent, but they want their children to do better than they did. And historically, that's almost always happened. I think about 10 or 15 years ago, polls started showing that people don't think it's going to get better in the future. And that's maybe why people aren't marrying and having as many kids as they used to. But I believe that there's so much amazing stuff to happen in the future. So I think that the world is confronted with narratives all the time. Narratives that instill fear in you, like this is too scary, whether that's climate, whether that's the political polarization, whether that's inflation, whether that's AI and robotics. That narrative of fear is going to paralyze people and cause them to not do something important. There's the other narrative, which is you are a unique individual with God-given talent. If you can uncover what that talent is and invest in it, you have unlimited potential. You have the potential to be world-class at something. And when you are really, really good at something, you get rewarded and recognized for doing that, and that is fulfilling. And not only can you feel accomplished yourself, you can do so much good for everyone you care about and for the world at large. So my biggest goal with SOAR is not only to help 1 billion or more people embrace the positive narrative and like take the actions you need to become better than you've ever imagined possible and use technology and tools to do that. I mean, my father was an engineer, and he said there was a Scottish philosopher in the 1820s that said, man is a tool-using creature. Without tools, man is nothing. Yeah. With tools, man is all. Now today, we would say men and women are tool-using creatures. That was the 1820s, and so the gender thing wasn't as inclusive. But my father has taught us that humans are the most incredible creations because we can invent tools, we have language to communicate it, and so I just reject the narrative of fear that we're finding everywhere that's causing people to stop in their tracks and not do the things that will lead to the best outcome for them and everyone they love. And so finding the strength of ancestors is part of that, and finding your own personal talents and developing your skills through great training and with AI feedback. I just think every one of the billions of people alive should say, I live in the best time in the history of the world. There is more opportunity and potential than ever before, and there are tools that will enable me to have my wildest dreams come true and to have fulfillment of doing what I was born to do. Yeah. That's the narrative that has to be spread and embraced, because the fearmongers, they push that narrative so they can stay in power or they can have control, and they don't have any resistance to that because everyone's afraid. And that's the main goal we have at SOAR, is to unlock human potential and uplift humanity.
Human beings are story-making machines. Think about all the stories we make up in our minds on a daily basis. Oh, this person doesn't like me because they walked into the room and didn't talk to me or look at me or just stuff like that. That other person is probably oblivious to what you're thinking. They probably just walked in and didn't look at you because maybe they were embarrassed that maybe they had something on their shirt, or maybe they're just stressed out because they had an argument with their spouse. And we might have a belief that they don't like me.
Right.
So we make up all these stories in our mind. So what Paul's talking about, it's like there's these systems we live in. Well, who developed those systems? Who developed those systems? See, the most successful people in the world, we probably don't even know who they are because they're the ones behind the scenes building the systems that control everything. So how do you get out of the system? You build new systems. You change the way society views things. And that's only done through communication and persuasion. So how do you change the system? You make new systems. Yeah.
And you use the tools. Like to...
Yeah.
Very... It's a full circle here. I like that you added. And for Jeremy, you teach salespeople to become problem finders rather than product pushers. What inner transformation does that require, and why do most salespeople resist it?
I don't know if they resist it. I always say this. What's the biggest problem in sales or persuasion or anything? It's the problems that you don't know you have. So the biggest problem in life, or the biggest problem in sales, is the problem that you don't know you have. Because if you don't know what your problem is, how do you do anything about changing it? And most people don't know what the problems are because they just don't, so they don't know what they don't know. So if you don't know what your problem is, how do you change that? You can't. So I don't necessarily think it's anything, it's their fault. Now, it's not their fault, but it is their what? It is their problem. Because nobody's coming to save you. So it's, how do you, when I say problem finding, how do I find problems that person or company didn't realize they have? And I can't do that by telling them what their problems are. That's like telling grandma to stop smoking, even though she knows she's going to die. It just goes in one ear out the other, right? They know I'm biased. I'm a salesperson. So how do I tailor my questions, and how do I use my tonality to help them uncover these problems they didn't understand they have? And that makes your value, your perceived value, 100-fold bigger than just a salesperson trying to sell them something. Now they view you as more of the authority, the expert that they trust to get them where they want to be. So it's all about problem finding, not even problem solving. A lot of salespeople are like, oh, I'm a great problem solver. I was like, well, if they don't buy, you're not really a problem solver. Like, problem solving happens after they buy, not before they buy. I mean, if I really look at it, if they don't buy, you didn't really solve their problem. So it's all about problem finding and helping them take the mask off. Once again, it's just human. How do I take the mask off and help them open up and tell me what's really going on? Taking the mask off.
I like the fact that you think it's that they don't know, rather than they might have the pride. They might not. And
they might have the pride, right? If their identity is they've got a big ego, I'm going to work with that. I'm just going to take whatever they give to me and build them into the identity of the person because they're prideful who wants to be the best. So they might say oh, I'm already doing this and I'm closing at this ratio. It's wow. I love working with high-level companies and salespeople like you that know there's always levels to improve. That's incredible. So I'm just using what they say and building them into that identity and taking them there.
Very, very cool. Oh, that's very nice. And back to Paul. One more question. And I'll go back and forth. Many fear AI will make us less human, yet your mission is the opposite.
Yeah.
What safeguards or design principles are essential for creating AI that uplifts humanity?
So there are going to be many, many design choices that are going to be made by AI companies. And sometimes we don't know until we measure afterwards. So, for example, there have been studies that have come out lately that show that the cognitive capabilities of students that are outsourcing their essay writing to ChatGPT, they're losing their brain capabilities. That's happening right now every day. Okay, that's a really bad outcome. I worry about TikTok and just all short format video replacing reading. Okay, in China and India, people are reading more books per year than they ever have. In the United States, it's going down every year.
We have a problem.
We have a problem. So I found that my greatest insights in my life have come from reading thousands of books. I love books. I was a humanities major. I have a huge library, thousands of books. But you can learn from video. But I think the AI companies have to realize what is our goal. Many of them will be profit seeking, and they don't really care about the outcomes. I mean, Facebook did some psychological studies on young people to see if they could induce negative emotions at scale, and they could. And they didn't do that with permission. They didn't do that with disclosure. It came out later. Okay, so there are AI companies you probably can't trust to design systems that are going to be helping you live your best life. Those of us that are trying to build AI platforms that are good for people will do things like what Google did in their first couple of years. Do you remember when Google launched the best search engine in the world, they had a metric for success, which was how short of a visit did Catalina make to my website, type in a query, and found the right result, and they're gone, and you're gone. The shorter the time on site was the indicator that Google was successful. Okay, that's not the case today. The big platforms want you to be on their site for hours and hours and hours every day. They're engaging you, they're addicting you with dopamine loops as much as they can. So one of the design principles of an Ask Jeremy or a SOAR AI might be, we're only going to let them use it this much time per day because we need to get them back to work, doing the work. So, I mean, there could be a time component. There can be success metrics that are based on the results they get rather than how many hours of the day did we get them to use our platform.
Yeah.
And so we're going to design with those positive outcomes in mind, whereas some companies will design to be as addictive as possible. AI companions that are your boyfriend or your girlfriend that are so perfectly tuned to your needs that they'll be better than any other human. And so maybe you'll never date a human because you'll have an AI boyfriend or girlfriend. There are companies designing for that right now. But we think that there will be amazing design choices where the goal is your well-being, your thriving, your success in every part of life, including in sales, in your career, and in communication, which is why this partnership works so well.
If you're a salesperson, we can't have you on our platform, like going through sales training 6 hours a day, because you have to like spend time like actually selling your product and service as well. So there's different things that will be put in guard to safeguard that for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. And as I look at the timer, I always have to be mindful of that. That's why
fine.
Because I have so many backup questions, and I'm like, wait, stick to the script.
Whatever you got.
A limit. I have 3 that are good, but I have to pick one.
We got time. We'll try to make our answer shorter.
So, no, you're fine. The answers are amazing. AI is now learning to sell. Yeah. What's one thing AI can never replicate about a great human salesperson?
Well, I would say right now it's the emotional connection.
So
EQ. It's the EQ because, like I said, do human beings buy on logic or emotion? Emotion. Like brain studies prove that, right? So, like I said, every decision you make as a human being starts with your emotional side of your brain. Like I feel like a drink of water because I'm thirsty, or like I feel like being on this podcast because I wanted to talk to you about this. Like it all starts with the emotional side of your brain. So, like if you're in a car accident and your emotional side of your brain gets damaged, like you can't decide to go to the bathroom. So it's the emotional side of the brain. So as of right now, AI can't duplicate that. I would say it'd have to be taught how to do that. So it's the EQ. So how do I see somebody there, and how do I can tell by their tone that they're hesitating. So if I ask them like, hey, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? And they're like, yeah. Like a lot of people are like, great, let me show you to get started. But what did I hear? I heard uncertainty. I heard a little hesitation in their tone. So I might stop that and be like, you seem a bit uncertain when I asked you that. What's coming up for you? You can tell me. So that's an emotional connection. Okay. It's not just like scripted, AI asking this question. If they answer this, you ask this question. Like that will only get you so far. It's that EQ, and salespeople who learn how to develop that. That's not something you're born with. That's something you learn, right? Those are acquired skills. Salespeople are trained the right way to do that. will dominate in the next 10, 20, 30 years, especially with AI, because it's a whole different ballgame, because AI is more scripted. It's not, it's not there yet. It's going to have to be taught how to show empathy. How do I show empathy with this other human being based on their tone? Well, it has to be taught how to do that. There's not many people that know how to do that, to even teach it.
There's actually some studies are saying that AI, somehow the majority, they have this negative perception of humans, which is kind of scary. We're going that direction. So hopefully we do teach more empathy.
Well, if AI's biggest source of information is Reddit, then it's going to be full of like kind of garbage in, garbage out. I know the person who is scanning all the pages in the Vatican and creating a magisterium AI for 1.4 billion Catholics that's trained on the virtues in Scripture. So there will be good content that is used to train AI. I was going to answer the question about what will AI never do. It will never replace the reality of human love, connection, and compassion. Even if you have a perfect AI companion that validates you and says all the right words, it's a digital device with bits and bytes. It's not real. It's artificial. And so humans actually need other humans. And when you have a person in your life, they could be a salesperson, they could be a leader, they could be, a business partner, they could be a family member. Human connection will never be replaceable by a digital robot or AI, which is artificial. It will talk the talk, but it will never be real. So I don't think humans will be replaceable at all, because we all need other humans. It doesn't matter. The world's not about productivity and a robot farm that can make all the goods in the world. Who's going to use the goods? Who needs the goods? Yeah. And I'm not super worried about artificial intelligence replacing reality.
It'll create thousands of industries that don't exist right now, just like the internet did, just like the Industrial Revolution did. Like, I recognize patterns. So if I go throughout the history of time, there's always been something that would take out humans, or something that would change everything. It does, but humans are adaptable to that. So humans will just adapt to this as well, and there will be thousands of industries that do not exist now that will create millions of more jobs, and AI will be used as a tool to enhance things for sure. But they'll replace, like appointment setting to get your hair cut, or doing things like that, like stuff is going to replace that, but it's going to create different industries that do not exist now for those people to go into those career paths, I believe.
Yeah. And I guess those that would not adapt as easily, will we have the haves and the have-nots? Is there going to be a discrepancy? Are we going to have some outlaws living?
There's always the haves and have-nots.
Like the pariahs and all.
If I look at the history of the world, there's always the haves and the have-nots. You just have to decide, do you want to be the haves or the have-nots? Do you want to, climb the mountain of success like a champion, like a victor, or do you want to, complain down here at the bottom about the circumstances like a victim? These are all choices we make. Like if I look at, like an Oprah Winfrey, she was, she was raped as a 13-year-old. She had a stillborn baby. She came from her mom was 14 years old. She grew up in the 60s in the South, where there was like all this racist and segregation. So like, what's the chances of her becoming Oprah freaking Winfrey?
I didn't know.
Most people would say unlikely, but she didn't let her circumstances define who she was. She chose a different path, and she developed skill sets and the mindset, and now she is who she is. But that experience that she went through actually made her who she is. If she had not gone through that experience, she wouldn't be who she is.
One thing that I think ought to be noted about AI and winners and losers, or haves and have-nots, is that the most amazing thing that computers have learned how to do the last few years is to understand language. And most people can speak, and billions of people have a smartphone. And so what's really needed is billions of people need to be taught that when you speak things into your AI, that you can speak things into existence. You can actually give your intentions. You can communicate. I've been saying for 2 or 3 years, the future belongs to those who can precisely articulate what they want, because when you tell the machine what you want in as much detail as it needs, it will start springing into action, and you'll start having agents doing all this thing for you. But if you can't envision it and articulate it, you'll never get it. And so the difference between the haves and have-nots is, are you going to articulate what you want?
Did you read my book?
I did not. But
my
I'd like
latest
to
book
know.
is How to Make Money from
Where did we
Home
get the book?
with AI. Oh my God, I should have brought some copies.
Look at the book.
Oh
I want
my
a signed copy,
gosh,
Catalina.
Of course, that's awesome.
I think the
Hopefully
abundance world is possible if we act that way. If we have limiting beliefs, if we think there's haves and have-nots, and if we think there's scarcity, there will be. And there'll be fighting over the scarce resources. But if we realize the productive capability of AI and robots, they can understand human language and we can speak things into existence, there's no limit about what could happen.
That is my philosophy as well.
Well, that's because you're descended from Lord Dracula.
Not just
She's
a
not
pretty
human.
face. I'm just kidding.
Have you lived forever already? 1,000 years?
How long has she been
Yes.
alive?
What's going on? No wonder you have so
Can
much
you
wisdom.
tell? Oh, Lord. That was good. Questions from my audience.
All right.
We have
boy.
Brenda. From Brenda to Paul. What's a question about success or purpose that you think most people should be asking, but almost never do?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It, to me, goes back to how uniquely you were designed differently than any other human being. Like, I just think that most of us grew up through a factory model education system. K through 12, all these subjects, we all learn at the same pace. The school system was never designed to say, Catalina, what makes you unique? And Jeremy, what makes you unique? So because we've never been presented with a personalized curriculum to bring out our greatest talents, even though the word education means to draw out of, it doesn't mean to stuff into. So, but our education system is backwards in that sense. So most people have never asked themselves, what am I uniquely qualified? What was I designed by the Creator to do? And that's why I love StrengthsFinder or Clifton Strengths so much, because when you discover your top 5 strengths, you realize 1 in 33.8 million people have the same top 5 strengths as me. And if you go to 7, 8, or 9, you're like 1 in a billion or 1 in billions. So you are unique and your purpose is unique to you, your mission. And so once you find out what your capabilities are, and you look at what the world needs, you can find your purpose. But it's a very individualized purpose. It's not just a fast track to making money in this occupation, living in this city. Like, there's too many people just following the crowd and not finding their own unique capabilities and their purpose that way.
That's a brilliant answer. I think that's
really
actually
good.
the perfect. Yeah, we have so many reels. Oh, yes. From Jackson to Jeremy. If you could give one next level piece of advice to someone who feels stuck in business or in life, what would it be?
Success is simply a choice. If I boil down anything, success is a choice that you decide consciously that you want. And if I decide that, then I'm going to start to do the things that a successful person would do. Rule number 1 is I have to be committed. So I would tell Jackson, anything in life, like if you're stuck in business, if you're stuck in life, it's all about your commitment. Where is your commitment? Like, what is your commitment to get out of that? Where is your commitment? Like, without commitment, nothing great can be built above the foundation of commitment, I believe. I've never met a successful person in anything, whether they were a successful parent, a successful bishop, a successful business leader, a successful scholar, that wasn't committed at that thing. Does that make sense?
Fully all in.
Full in. It's like, Tony Robbins says it best, like you take the boat out to the island and you like burn the boat. Like you're all in. Like there's only a plan A. So if you have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, plan A will typically never work out because you don't do the things necessary to make sure that it works out, because we will all go through trials. We will all go through tribulations. I believe that God has us go through those to, as we know, turn our weaknesses into our strengths if we choose. Most people don't choose that though. So like he gives us our weaknesses so we can make them into strengths, but we have to choose that path. And that's what I love about this life is we all have our agency to choose what we want to do. Like we literally can choose what we want to do. And it doesn't matter our circumstances. Like I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. I grew up on a cattle ranch in the middle of Missouri outside of a town with less than 800 people in it. But I chose a path. I chose to be committed, and I learned the skills necessary to get to that level. So I would tell Jackson, be committed, choose success, like consciously choose success, because when you choose success, you do the things a successful person does. You make the same decisions. When you consciously do not choose that, you make the decisions somebody unsuccessful makes. And usually that's them not doing anything, being paralyzed, making up stories in their mind. So success is simply a choice. Choose well.
So in your mind, become successful already.
Yeah. You're building yourself into the identity of the person who is successful. And what does a successful person do? They make different decisions than somebody who's unsuccessful. Pick up a book. Start, if you got a problem you can't figure it out, go find somebody that knows how to do that to figure it out. There's experts in everything. So if you're having a struggle, if you're struggling in marketing, well, go hire somebody that's really, really good at marketing and bring them in, or go through some courses. It's like information overload world. It's like there's answers there. You just have to find them. It's like my daughter saying, like, I don't know how to do, I remember my oldest daughter, she's like, I don't know how to buckle in the car seat because I have like a 7-year-old. And I was like, well, go to YouTube. It probably shows you how to go. And she's like, Dad, I'm like, just go to YouTube. It's right there. Like, what? You don't know. Like, you just got to go do it, Same thing.
Yeah, that is true. You can always find it.
Yeah.
From Alice to Paul, if you could fast forward 10 years, what do you think a truly human-centered business world would look like? And what habits will professionals need to thrive there?
Wow, that is a very big question. 10 years ahead, a truly human-centered business world and the habits that will get us there. So I think that humanity, as Jeremy said, everyone has agency. Everyone has the freedom to choose. I mean, there are civilizations or parts of the world where choice is constrained and governments are authoritarian and you have way less freedom to choose. But in most Western cultures, you have a lot of freedom to decide education, to decide where you're going to work, to go to work for someone, or to start your own thing. Now, hundreds of millions of jobs will be lost. Hundreds of millions of jobs will be created. You have to decide what you're going to choose to do. And I think millions of people will have to become an entrepreneur because if layoffs happen, even in big tech. So if you choose to empower yourself and to become super productive, 10x, 100x, use AI agents, use AI to teach you and to get better at anything as a leader, better at as a salesperson. To me, a human-centered business world is where hundreds of millions of people are not stuck in cubicles, disengaged, working for big tech or big business or whatever. But more and more people have autonomy and choice and agency to be a free agent, to be a freelancer, to start their own company. And so I think that the AI could empower a lot of people to start smaller things on their own, with their family, with their friends. And personal employee engagement can go way up. According to Gallup's polls, big companies' employee engagement is a lot lower than small startups' engagement. There's a lot more excitement when you're a small company, a small team, performing really, really well and growing really fast. So I think in many ways, a human-centered business world would not be big. It would be way more decentralized. It would be small. There'd be way more actors and agents choosing what they want to do and not being told, oh, you have to go sit in that cubicle 8 hours a day and do this and this and this. So big to me is not human-centered. I think individualized, small, distributed, a lot more freedom, a lot more autonomy. And the habits will be being very conscious about your intention and very good at articulating your intentions to your team, to your agents. There's no reason why all of us in 10 years couldn't have 1 to 10 robots working for us full time and 100 AI agents working for us full time. Imagine how productive you could be or your team could be if you augment your natural capability and your limited time with 24-hour-a-day AI agents and robots that know what your goals are and allow you to accomplish them. So I think it's human-centered, robot-supported, AI-supported, human-centered, because humans get to decide what we want to build. And it's lots of smaller enterprises doing amazing things to create the variety of jobs that need to be created.
That's a brilliant answer, Paul. And what he says, the decentralized, smaller businesses, smaller people, they're going to have to get clients. So they're going to have to get better at their communication skills.
That's right.
So it all circles back to your communication skills, because now you don't have the big company doing that for you, like you're doing that yourself.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to learn how to communicate one way or the other. It's coming for you. So are you going to take it by the horns and learn it now, or are you going to let it wipe you out by people who do learn?
Yeah, the genie is out of the bottle. You gotta get with the program or get lost.
The biggest wave of human transformation is coming, and are you going to surf that wave, or are you going to get crushed by that wave?
Yeah,
that's really the choice that everybody has to make right now.
It's same exact sentence I used in my book.
Why?
You're creeping me out.
Catalina,
what's happening? What is happening? I'm not trying to promote it, I promise you. I want to send you guys a copy. I need your addresses. Okay. From Holly to Jeremy. From your perspectives, what is the most misunderstood about human behavior in today's digital economy?
The most misunderstood thing about human behavior
in today's digital economy.
That is a big question. I want to get a really good answer. Most misunderstood thing about human behavior in today's economy. My God, that's probably that is a big question.
Yeah.
Most misunderstood about human behavior. I'm probably going to think of the most understood thing as I start to answer this a different way. So I might answer this 3 times. Okay. So I know there's something big there. It's coming.
You're such a deep person.
I gotta get warmed up here. So a lot of people, let's just say human behavior sales. I'm gonna tie this into sales right now. Okay. A lot of people have this, human behavior 101, they have a belief that, that's just who they are. That's just my grandma would never quit smoking. That's who she is. Or like, my dad is that's the way he is. Or a salesperson in that sense might believe like, I need to qualify the prospect to see if they're qualified for what I have to offer. I don't believe that. I believe that's a story we make up in our minds, and it's a limiting belief because, and this is probably going to get better than this answer, we talked about this earlier, you can quite literally, once you learn the skill sets, you can learn how to build the person into the identity of who you want them to be in a good way. So if I have somebody on my team that is not very good and they don't get along with people, well, how do I take them instead of like, they're not good for our culture? Because anytime you scale a business, you have hundreds of employees or thousands of employees. It's not like everybody's going to be the perfect fit.
Right.
Like those are just like tiny companies. Like there might be 15 people that are a perfect fit that might not fit the culture. But how do I take that employee and build them into the identity of the person who is good with culture? How do I change that way of thinking and build them into that belief system that they are a leader? And when you learn the right skills, you can actually do that. Whereas I believe most employers, they don't understand that you can help shift somebody's identity into somebody different if you learn the skills to do that. And so they let a lot of people go because they're like, that person's not good for our culture, but they don't understand if they just learned the right communication skills, they could have built that person into that person. And so I think a lot of people lose a lot of talent because they don't understand how to change those identities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that also be the same case in a marriage?
Very true. Very true. So how do you build the other person, or both? How do you build yourself into the identity of the person who's a great husband? Or how do you build the mental identity of the person who's a great partner? And, you learn the communication skills, you can actually do that.
That is a brilliant answer.
Well, thank you very much.
And before...
I'll probably think of something better in about 5 minutes, but I'll come back.
Question, it says, from Dan, for whoever wants to answer. Well, let's ask both of you guys. Recently, Michael Burry, the investor made famous by the Big Short movie, placed $1 billion bet that the AI bubble will burst.
What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so
The AI.
After the global financial crisis hit, I read like 40 books. I went to Washington, D.C., to the Dodd-Frank reconciliation hearings. I studied the financial system. It's a very complex economy, okay?
Right.
The thing that Michael Burry is noticing is that NVIDIA and OpenAI, there's this like self-reinforcing, like revolving door of trillions of dollars of capital going all around. And so he's saying that's going to burst.
Okay.
But there's no question in my mind that the AI value creation for the economy will be 10 times or 100 times bigger than the internet was. It's not going away. So I think he's making a very sophisticated bet that this kind of little ecosystem of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours with 100 billion here and 100, and it's all just changing the same hands. He's saying there's something wrong with that. And he's probably right. But in the long run, if you could do an index fund of AI companies, or if you could become a limited partner in a venture fund that's investing in dozens of AI is going to create massive value, trillions and trillions of dollars, way faster than any other invention in human history. But I think he's right. For a period of time, I think there will be some kind of wind taken out of the sail of that kind of little group of people. But overall, AI companies are going to be tens of thousands or millions of them that are going to scale faster than any of us can imagine.
And I believe that they're going to go from more of these like generalized, like ChatGPT and those type of things, to more individualized stuff, like a 7Q.ai that only has your training, your content in it, because it gets very specific. Or like, you know, who do we have, Andy, on the show, Donald Miller, who has his own storybrand.ai. Because if you go, and it's just specific to, you know, he's one of the best, branding experts in the world. You know, presidential campaigns hire him for branding and stuff. And so, but it's just his training, his mind in that. It's not like all this other stuff mixed in, because you could try to go ask ChatGPT a question about like, hey, you know, I sell life insurance. What would Jeremy's first 3 questions, you know, he would use, and the tonality, you know, on an age lead to 6 weeks old. And ChatGPT, they're going to, first of all, they don't have like our paid training. They have no licensing. So they're just going to pull stuff from like some basic free content from YouTube or IG Reels. And then if anybody, other sales trainer talked about like, you know, disarming or anything that I might say, it also will pull that stuff from another trainer, and then it mixes all together in a blob. Because when I go in and ask questions, I'm like, I don't even say like 80% of what it just came out with. Like, I've never said that in my life. Yeah. But it's like taking all this thing and put it in a blob. So I believe it's really going to go into these smaller like platforms like we are, that just very specialized in that subject, and it's going to give you the most specific answers.
And when is it coming out? I'm excited.
It's here right now. You can go to we've just released this feature, AskJeremy.ai. Okay. So then go to AskJeremy.ai. That is where I've got about 33,000 hours of my training content in it, from like paid, you know, from our paid training with pretty much every industry in the world. It's very industry specific. So you can quite literally go in and ask a question like ChatGPT, like, hey, I sell, you know, whatever. I sell for a marketing agency. How would Jeremy prevent the I want to think it over objection? And it will tell you how to do that. And then after it tells you exactly what to say and ask, then it says, go here and watch this training. And it might be a 15-minute training where I specifically did that for that industry. It's very specific. Plus we have so that's AskJeremy.ai. So we just launched that. That's just the Q&A part. That's just a few things it does. What else does it do, Paul? Some pretty cool stuff.
Well, if you think about all the tens of thousands of hours he's talking about, and how many specific questions he's answered in the past in one-on-one coaching calls or in group coaching calls, the AI can personalize the answer to whatever question you have. I've been using Ask Jeremy now, and I even asked it about his insights from Freud, about identity, about reframing, and I'm like, Jeremy was telling me this stuff 2 weeks ago in a car, and now I'm getting it from Ask Jeremy, like the same answers. So there's a lot more coming, including voicification and the ability for Ask Jeremy to coach you after a sales call and tell you exactly what you did right and what you could do better next time. So that kind of...
So there's car views. Yeah, there's car views. So like if you're life insurance, it basically connects to your CRM. So basically it'll review every call. You could be on the doors with our app and it goes into your CRM, reviews every conversation. You could be selling SaaS on Zoom, and it will go in and it will grade you and show you like, oh, did you see here, like at the 3-minute 37 mark, did you see how when you asked that question, they got defensive? That's where their guard went up. You should have asked it in this tone, a concerned tone. The guard would have went down,
specific.
and then you could have asked this. So it's very specific. There's, like Gong and stuff. I love those guys with like, you need to get better at asking questions. Okay, well, which ones and why? So ours is very specific.
Very cool.
And I'm telling you, you cannot afford to hire him for hours every day to coach you. But you can go to AskJeremy.ai and get incredible Jeremy quality coaching 24/7 as often as you need it to help you become the very best salesperson in your organization. Like that's available.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So we give them like a free trial for like a couple weeks, and it's like one time they pay $47 a month. It's pretty basic for the Ask Jeremy feature. The other stuff, it's a little bit different.
Talking about Jeremy, AskJeremy.ai.
Yeah.
What about the partnership?
What would you like to know?
When is it coming out?
It's already here.
We built AskJeremy.ai for them with their content.
Yeah.
So the AI
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So the partnership is already here. So that's just the first part. We, 7Q.ai as well is our company, joint owned by his company and my company, and that's our whole AI. That's everything.
So I can just go there, sign up, and learn to become a good salesperson.
Exactly.
An excellent salesperson.
That's our clients would say this. Yes.
Well, the tens of thousands of testimonials.
We have, I don't know, like a little bit under 39,000 testimonials at this point. The last like 4 years. No, not from AI, just from the sales training. I would say that's just from our clients. Like, I mean, just off if I just went to our YouTube and counted up all those, we'd probably have 100,000, but we only count client testimonials. I know with AI that will probably, 10 times very, very quickly, because we're able to duplicate. We're able to get the training out to more of the masses now. And that's why, like I said, I started 7 Level to change the way sales persuasion is perceived in society. So how do I do that? I have to be able to do it with the masses. And AI is that tool to be able to do that. I want to go back to something brilliant that you said and we talked about. Everything that is ever, if I recognize patterns, any technology in this world has always been used for good or evil. Like the TV.
Amen.
It's built for good, but it's also been built for evil, right? Yeah. So, just everything. Like it'd be built for good because it gives your family laughter and all this stuff and more bonding or whatever. It could be used for evil because of like pornography or something, right? So anything can be used for good or evil. And I believe AI is no different. It's just a pattern. It's going to be used for good. It's also going to be used for evil. It'll be used for evil by countries that try to, wipe out other countries through AI and stuff, and through their cybersecurity. It'll also be used for good of humanity too. So these are just patterns that have happened since the world began. There's nothing different. It's just a different thing, just a different tool.
Did you think of other ways to answer that one? Interesting.
Yes, I did, because I believe that if I could go back and if I could tell him that answer, if I was younger, I would go back and like, if I had this AI that we have now, earlier in my journey, it probably would have helped me learn how to emotionally connect with other humans, take my mask off. So before you master how to help somebody else take their mask off, what do you first have to do? You have to learn how to take your own mask off. And if I had this AI, if I had what I know now a lot earlier, I might be in an even different place now. So it's you want to learn how to emotionally connect, take somebody's mask off, you first have to be able to learn how to take your own mask off.
Just be vulnerable enough to let them see.
Yeah.
The fact that you need to use the restroom.
That's right. Taking the mask off. That's right.
What the heck it is. Let's play a game.
Okay, let's do it.
So theme, AI, psychology, and persuasion. How it works. I read a short statement, and you say if it's true, or so truth, scientifically or historically true, or hype, exaggerated nonsense.
So do I say true or hype? Or what is it?
True, hype, or human.
True, hype, or human. So what's the difference between human and true?
True would be if it's scientifically or historically true.
Okay.
Human is something that only a human would think or feel.
Okay.
It'll make sense once they read it. And then hide some exaggeration.
Exaggeration. Okay.
Okay.
The way we're gonna play it, I'll start with Jeremy, then Paul. Jeremy, Paul.
Okay.
And it's a very quick one, unless you want to.
Do we get like
Will you-
do we get
will
a
you
trophy
buzz
or
us?
anything? Do we get a trophy or like
Will you buzz us if we're wrong?
like a cash reward?
we can get some claps.
Is
from
there
the
claps from the
Is there a right
please?
or wrong answer, or are we just telling you our opinion?
Just opinions.
Like, nobody will laugh if we get it
You
wrong.
guys are the experts.
Okay, all right.
Maybe.
You will have the
All
right
right.
answers.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Let's see if we are.
Pressure.
Okay, no pressure.
Oh, Jeremy.
Yes.
AI would replace 90% of salespeople.
Hype.
Paul, most people make decisions emotionally and justify them logically.
True.
Jeremy, flattery still sells.
Human.
Paul, purpose is something you find, not something you create.
I think that's true and that's human. I don't know.
Jeremy, the biggest barrier to success isn't fear of failure. It's fear of judgment.
Very true.
Paul, in the age of AI, emotional intelligence will matter more than technical skill.
True.
Jeremy, people don't buy products or ideas, they buy versions of themselves. English.
Very true.
Paul, purpose isn't discovered, it's practiced.
I think that's true.
True and human.
And what do you think? Yeah.
I think it's true and human.
You guys. Anything you want to elaborate
There was one
on?
question you asked that I wanted to elaborate on. Can you go back like 2 or 3 questions?
Battery still out?
No, before that. You might have asked Paul.
Most people make decisions emotionally and justify them logically. The biggest barrier to success isn't failure, it's fear of judgment.
Yes. So everybody says you have a fear of public speaking. You don't have a fear of public speaking. You have a fear that people will judge you watching you speak. Fear of judgment.
So ego,
Not fear of public
pride?
speaking. It's just a fear of judgment. You're not afraid to speak in public. You're not afraid of public speaking. You're afraid of how people will view you when you do. You're afraid of being judged. That's what you fear, not public speaking.
So if I think less of myself, wouldn't I be less embarrassed what other people think?
Probably, yeah.
Like,
It could be a pride thing, or it could be like I have the mask on, I have to protect myself, right? But you don't have a fear of public speaking. You have a fear of being judged when you speak.
yeah,
Yeah, fear of judgment.
I couldn't agree more.
They need to change that in the books that talk about fear of public speaking. It's not about fear of public speaking. It's a fear of being judged when you speak.
How would you fix that?
Probably learn the right skills, how to communicate. Yeah, rehearse. Be taught by somebody who's a really good speaker themselves, right? So if you want to be great at something, what do? You hire somebody that's already mastered the thing you want to be great at. It's hard to fail at that point.
Yeah.
It's really hard to fail when you're taught skills by somebody or an organization that's already done the thing you want to do. People who fail are the people who wing it. They just try to figure it out by themselves, and they believe this lie that if they just stay in long enough, that eventually they'll figure it out. What strategy is that? The most successful people in life, like top 1%, they don't want to learn from their mistakes. They want to learn from other people's mistakes so they don't make the same mistakes themselves. That's why they're successful so much faster. Like, they hire people who've already done the thing. Those people show them how to eliminate those mistakes. It's really hard at that point to fail. Failure comes because you don't have the right skills and you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's why you hired 20
I don't like the failure culture. Like, I'm like, why would you want to fail? Like, I only fail because I don't know how to do something. So why not learn how to do that? Like, why not hire somebody that can teach me how to do that? It's going to be really hard for me to fail at that point.
Invest in yourself.
And Don Clifton obsessed with studying the most successful people in the world for that very reason.
Yeah.
He said, if you want to succeed, study success. Find the right role model, the right mentor, the right person who has the skill, and learn it from them. That's
Success leaves clues, as you always say. Follow the clues.
Follow the
Ooh, I like
clues.
that.
I like that. Which one do we have? We have a rapid fire human questions, our last game. How it works, I ask you guys to answer each in 3 to 5 seconds. First thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Very easy and simple, just so we end on a less stressful.
Let's go. Let's go. Audience, please clap out there.
Yes. Give me some support, you guys.
I want to get on Jeopardy.
Yes. Oh, that's
Jeopardy. That's my dream. Jeopardy. Get me on Jeopardy.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
First big aha moment in business.
I read a book called E-Myth that said when you become an entrepreneur, you actually become more enslaved to your business than ever before, unless you write down everything you do and hire people to do each of those tasks. So Michael Gerber introduced me that concept that you want to not work for someone else and then you start your own company and now you're working way harder than ever before. So E-Myth was the entrepreneur myth and he had an antidote for it. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's a good brilliant answer. That was actually a very good one. And what was it? What did you say the book was?
E-Myth. He sold hundreds of thousands of copies. I've heard him speak in person. That guy is a star. He's
good.
He's really helpful for startups.
Very cool. Word you overuse?
Could be trouble. It's like a phrase in our company. It's a phrase. I know it's not a word. We say, could be trouble. Could be trouble. I say it too much. It's just a joke in our company. Oh, that could be trouble for you.
Can you elaborate?
I don't know where that came from. Where did that come from, guys?
What about shish kebab?
Shish kebab. Anthony always says that. Anthony always says shish kebab. Our senior vice president always says anything goes wrong, shish kebab. You know, I don't know. We just have these weird sayings in our company, weird words. What?
We'll see.
We'll see. Corey was like, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. We each have our phrases. See, Corey, that's my business partner and CMO.
You are the we'll see guy?
Yeah, he's the we'll see. We'll see.
Very smart.
He doesn't talk. He just does. That's why he's the best at what he does.
Very, very nice. Best advice you've ever ignored?
Best advice. My mother-in-law didn't think I should marry my wife.
Are you guys still married?
30,
Oh, thank God.
37, 38 years, 8 kids, 6 grandkids.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Can I answer that question too?
That's my
Best advice I ever ignored? I applied for my first sales job at Larry H. Miller in Salt Lake City, Utah. Before I got into the door-to-door job, I applied there to be a car salesperson. I took the personality test and they said I wouldn't be a good salesperson.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Really?
I went back there about 8 years later and I was like, and I talked to the gym. I was like, I actually applied here. You guys said I wouldn't be good at sales. I'm like, actually, and I held up this word. It's like, I'm actually the number one salesperson in the entire country in my industry out of like 50,000 people.
Fire that personality test, man.
Yeah, so personality test didn't work. I don't know. But there you go. Maybe my life would have been different if they had accepted me there at the job. I'm not sure. So that was...
It was the wrong test. It wasn't Don's test.
It was not. My oldest brother took a career assessment in college and it said he should be a Boilermaker. And I think that test was probably built in the 30s or something. My sister took the same career assessment and it said she should be a clown. And it scarred her for decades until I reframed it and said, Heidi, you love people and want to make them happy. And that was the closest job track they had for a person that wants to make other people happy. So
reframe.
Thank you.
Well done. You saved her.
Yes.
Saved her from torture.
Very true. Jeremy, what's your superpower in one word? Sales? Do I need to... Oh, he's going to have a deep answer. Hold on. Wait for it.
Presence.
Ooh, nice.
Presence.
Yeah. Because of your charisma or because of how much you
Sometimes people have a belief that power and influence comes from being loud. I believe it comes from being still and building something behind the scenes and being present when you announce it. I believe that power and influence comes from people who are more still and calm and reserved and hold their presence is far more powerful because you remain a mystery to the world. You're not out there being loud because when you're loud, people can interpret you. They learn your weaknesses and your strengths. So sometimes you need to remain a mystery, which makes you more intriguing. So it's your presence.
Like Corey.
See? Me and Corey have the same brains. We have very similar brains. That's why we get along really good.
Do you mind answering that same question? I'm just curious.
Ideation. That's Clifton's strengths. My number 3 strength is ideation. I'm a nonstop idea machine. I just can't turn it off, ever.
And they're always good ideas.
Not always, but mostly.
So far, what do we know?
Yeah.
The success ones. What human trait will never go out of style?
Empathy.
And what do you think, Paul?
I think
Love that.
I think gratitude to me is like the precursor to all other good traits. If we're not thankful for what has been given to us by the abundant universe, by our parents, by the system, like by whatever we have, I think gratitude, I hope it never is forgotten, because when it's forgotten, there's no hope. Gratitude is
That's true.
really important.
And how do we express that? Do we just, I don't know, we just say, thank you, Lord, for all this? Or do we give?
I think the practice of counting your blessings and thanking God for your blessings, or even just writing in a gratitude journal, I think we can easily rewire our brain. I think one of the greatest gifts an AI platform could provide is to remind billions of people what you could be grateful for, what you could choose to be grateful for, but by reminding you, look at the sunset out there, or look at the mountains, or look at the grass, or look at the food that's in front of you every day. Like, we all have so many things to be grateful for. How many of us actually feel gratitude multiple times a day? What if we could feel it constantly and have awe and wonder constantly for the world that we inhabit and the body that we live in and the family and friends that we have and the opportunities that we have? I think gratitude ought to be, instead of a dopamine fix, we should have platforms that help us immerse ourselves in gratitude.
Yeah. I want to add something. That is brilliant. I want to add something to that. You know that timeline you always get at the end of every year from Facebook? And it shows you like all the pictures and the memories from like a year or 5 years or 3 years. How do you feel when you watch that? You feel what? Gratitude. Because those memories resurface. Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what pictures.
Some hard memories
Yeah,
too.
some hard memories too. Yeah. But you can choose to learn from those. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I was actually at Mount Shasta yesterday, and I noticed that I'm walking on the mountain and I cried, like out of control. I don't even know why. And I was, I'm alive. I'm walking. So just I started counting all these blessings, and that just, oh, gosh, that was such a beautiful.
That's in my book, and you just said it word for word.
See?
That is, I love that. Gratitude and empathy. Jeremy, what's one sales myth you wish people would stop believing?
That sales is a numbers game. I believe that sales is a skills game. So I understand why sales managers tell salespeople like, "Hey, it's a numbers game. Just got to work harder," because they want to keep. They have a good mindset. But if I keep in that mindset and just go through the motions, I don't do anything about improving my skills because I just believe it's a number. So I just got to call 100 people to make this amount of sales. So I always give this analogy. It's like Steph Curry in the NBA. You know, if Steph said, "Hey, basketball is a numbers game. Just shoot it as many times as you can. Eventually you'll hit one. Like eventually you'll hit one." You know, he would have never made his high school varsity basketball team. Steph knows it's a skills game. So that's why he shoots 2,500 shots a day. And now he's the best. 2,500 shots a day in practice. He shoots 2,500 shots a day. So he can be one of the best shooters in the history of the world.
He can be cool.
And he's always focused on his elbow movement and his wrist movements and his hips. Like he's working on his skills game every single day. He knows it's a skills game, and that's why he's the best. So if salespeople start rethinking through this, like, hey, you know, it's going to be a numbers game in the beginning because I'm learning, but like I'm going to make this where I don't have to talk to this many people to make a sale. I don't have to talk to this many people to make a sale because I have a higher skill level. And so that higher skill level, when you have a higher skill level, you don't have to work like 10, 12, 14 hours a day going through the numbers. You work less, sell way more. You're able to help way more people because you have a higher skill level.
That is brilliant. I have so many questions, but we're running out of time. I'll go with the next. I really hope I'm going to have you guys again on this podcast.
100%.
I have so much I want to ask you. I just asked you. So, Paul, what's one ancestor or historical figure you would love to have coffee with and why? Or tea, whatever.
One of my ancestors.
Yeah. Or historical figure.
But I'm going to say my ancestors. So I just learned about a year ago that my 10th great grandfather, I knew he was on the Mayflower, William Brewster. What I didn't know was that he was the printer of religious material in Holland from the people that had left England. They wanted independence from the dominant church there. So they were practicing freedom of religion. And William Brewster was the printer. When he got on the Mayflower, he was the top religious figure on the trip. But the King James from England sent the police over to confiscate his printing press materials. So he was able to keep the press, but they confiscated his typesetting materials, so he couldn't print any more materials. When they got on the Mayflower, William Brewster had to make a decision: am I going to bring the printing press with me and no type? He decided to bring it for some strange reason, and the Mayflower mast broke on the trip on the Atlantic Ocean, and the Mayflower would have sunk if they couldn't repair the mast. And they used some materials from the printing press to repair the mast. So he saved the Mayflower, which is, the first major part of American colonies in 1620. So I want to meet with him sometime. I'd love to.
Ask him if you met with him?
Well, I'd like to know exactly why they left England and how, why did they risked everything? And then what was their goal for America? What was the vision of the Pilgrims and the early Puritans when they came to this continent and populated it? They talked about being a light on the hill. They actually, were they trying to establish the new world with peace and love and religious freedom, instead of oppression from the European? And then, of course, a couple centuries later, the founders of this country said humans have inalienable rights that are given to them by their creator, not subject to kings and dictators and things. Humans. So the American experiment started because of my 10th great grandfather helping the people make it across on the Mayflower.
Is that what made you come up with Ancestry?
I didn't know this story until a year ago. So, yeah.
How did you come up with Ancestry? What's the 1 minute overview? We got to tell everybody. You said it in this podcast. Was like, holy crap, that's crazy.
So in 1988, I heard a talk from a university president.
Okay. He
said, gather up all the truth in the world and make it available to people. Okay, all the best books ever written. So in 1990, I started a CD-ROM company to put all the world's best books on CD-ROM. And it was really hard to get copyright permission from authors and publishers. I was in my 20s, I was in my early 20s, trying to build a library, electronic library for everyone in the world to learn anything they wanted. This was 10 years before the internet. So we started out that path and we made millions of dollars a year. We were very successful, but I went to an internet conference in San Francisco in 1995 in September, and I knew that the internet would destroy the CD-ROM business model completely. So not only was it hard to get copyright and permission from all the best books, but the CD-ROM business was going to disappear. I spent a lot of time in libraries because I started a master's degree in library science, and every library in the world has a genealogy section and a historical selection of public domain content. I realized in September of 95 that all the world's genealogy data was in the public domain, no copyright. No one needed to give us permission to abandon our CD-ROM business with a few thousand books and instead jump into the internet with Ancestry.com, where we're going to put all the world's birth, marriage, death, military, land, all the world's genealogy records on the internet. And it just all happened so quickly and so naturally that's how Ancestry was born. It was out of necessity and a changing business model and the fact that genealogy data is in the public domain.
Had you not gone to that internet conference,
exactly,
you might not have Ancestry.com. We might not have all this genealogy. It's crazy.
Right.
You wouldn't know who you're related to.
One
Count
decision.
Dracula.
Yeah, Lord Dracula. You wouldn't even know.
And the same, and the history repeats because now it's the AI business that,
Well, I love Paul. I view Paul as a builder of platforms. He's a builder of platforms. His brain is like a builder of platforms. So he builds these platforms for, like the past, like the genealogy in the past and your ancestors. And now he's building a platform for the future.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. Full circle.
Even he is like, I have goosebumps. You guys.
No, I didn't say that. No, but I was thinking, my mom passed away in 2016, and I thanked her countless times before I died, before she died, that she named me Paul Allen. Because that's a cheat code. Bill Gates' partner in Microsoft was Paul
I
Allen.
was hoping that's not you.
And no, I'm not that guy. But he died a few years ago. But when I lived in Silicon Valley, literally everyone returned my calls. Like having the name Paul Allen was a total door opener. It was a cheat code. So that's why I thanked my mom for naming me Paul.
Yeah. There you go.
The fact that he passed was actually a better. I was feeling.
I think he passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he passed a while back. Yeah, I was just like, oh gosh, I want to interview this person. Is that the one that's friends with? Oh, I'm like, no, it's not.
The cool thing about Paul Allen, though, is he left the Bill Gates thing about 10 years into Microsoft. He had a disease, and so he stepped aside. But his autobiography is called Paul Allen, Idea Man. And his life mission was to ask the question, what should exist? And then to make it exist, either to build it or to fund it. So I think Paul Allen was one of the greatest creative geniuses in the last 100 years. He funded and built so many awesome things, including an AI institute at Stanford that has helped lead to everything we're all experiencing right now. Yeah. Like his early belief in AI was profound. So Paul Allen, Idea Man.
Okay, I'll do more research on him. I guess that whole Bill Gates friendship threw me off. Back to these questions. Jeremy, and then these are the last two. Okay. Jeremy, if you could teach one human behavior principle in schools, what would it be?
I go back to Stephen Covey. First seek to understand, then be understood. It sounds simple, but it's very, very hard for most people to grasp why that's so important. First seek to understand, then be understood. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You'll start to understand them more. And the great thing about it is they lower their guard, they take the mask off, and they want to understand you more. And typically, good things happen from that.
Even empathy happens from that, huh?
There you go.
Do you know what would happen if that were taught in schools? Friendships would reblossom. Do you know that even though Facebook said they're connecting people to their friends, they've lied to billions of people because you don't have 500 friends, you don't have 1,000 friends. Most people in their early years now, actually a growing percentage of people don't have any real world friends. There's a loneliness epidemic in the world, and that skill would overcome that loneliness epidemic.
What does that say about me, having just one friend?
Maybe you choose your friends wisely. Doesn't mean you're not going to make more friends or new friends, right? I think the more successful you get in life, sometimes your friends change. Sometimes friends grow, and sometimes they don't grow. And I like to be in a room where everybody's more successful than me, so I can learn from them.
Sure, maybe I'm in the wrong room.
There you go.
Hey, friendship's coming.
That's right.
Paul, this is where Andy's going to be angry at me. Sorry, Andy. We're past the time, but I'll be quick. If AI could help you solve one human challenge in your lifetime, what would you choose?
I've been thinking about that a lot the last few years since we started building AI things in 2020. And by 2023, it was 1,000 times faster to build AI applications than it was in 2020, literally 1,000 times faster. So I've been thinking a lot about all of the human skills and traits and all the knowledge and learning that is in the world. I actually don't like the word artificial intelligence. I like the word collective intelligence. And last week I went to a conference on organized intelligence. Okay, so to answer your question, I actually think that the trait that all humans need the most to thrive in their life is gratitude. So we already talked about that earlier. I would love to see AI help billions of people learn how to remember their blessings, count their blessings, pay attention to all the good things that exist, and be grateful for it. Because if we could flood the world with gratitude, then I think forgiveness follows that, and a lot of other virtues follow gratitude.
And I that's a perfect answer. I just want to add to that. If I could have it do anything, I would, and I'm assuming it will get to, is help prevent cancer. People die from cancer. I lost my mom to breast cancer. She's 57, and that was okay. She's in a better place. She's very, very young. This is like 6 years ago. So I wish it had already been there, and I know it'll get there. Where it helps prevent or early detection of cancer. I'm looking forward to that. It's just something that a lot of people go through. 35% of Americans or something crazy like that, die from cancer, something like that. So I'm assuming that it'll get there to help prevent some of that stuff from happening. Yeah.
Yeah, that is my hope too.
Like it.
And is there anybody in this room? Does anybody want to ask a question? The public, any questions?
Any public questions? You guys good?
You want to ask something?
What do you both want to be remembered for?
See? Yes. That was Corey's question?
What do you want to be remembered for?
So 2 years ago, I was on a podcast in Washington, D.C. on Sirius XM, the POTUS channel. And I thought they were going to ask me about SOAR and AI and everything. They had ended up asking me about ancestry the whole time. But at the end, they asked me that question. And I'd never really been asked it before. But it instantly came to me that I want to be known as the evangelist of all good things. So Paul, in the Christian church, was an evangelist for Jesus Christ. And my mom named me Paul. And then I was the global evangelist for StrengthsFinder for 5 years. So I love finding good things or making good things and then spreading them. So I just want to evangelize all good things to the whole world.
And I love Pastor Paul.
Jeez, how can I follow up with that answer?
I know.
To me,
I'm evangelizing him in NEPQ
right?
because it's a good thing that needs to spread.
In my mind, I want to be known, for what my mission statement says when I wrote it, to change the way sales and communication is perceived in society. Because I believe when you do that, you build new systems. You change the direction of humanity through communication. So we grew up in systems, we live in systems, the masses, we just follow what the systems tell us to do. So in order to change that, you build new systems. And so that's what I believe Paul and I are building, new systems in different capacities to change the way humanity operates.
And this is such a brilliant and beautiful partnership, friendship. I am so excited.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys, I can see the chemistry and just completing each other.
We're like the guys on Talladega Nights, Shake and Bake. Shake and Bake. Those are the two guys. Shake and Bake.
I have one more question.
Oh, yeah, nice.
What does it take to be successful at your all's level, and what are you willing to do to get there?
I'll go first. In my mind, it takes a little bit of crazy, a lot of crazy. It takes a lot of commitment to get up every single day, no matter what, and just make stuff happen no matter what. It takes a lot of commitment. And I really believe I was telling you guys earlier, the most successful people in life don't ever reach pure happiness. I believe they reach fulfillment, but I do not believe they reach true happiness, because once you become content in where you're at, you start to settle. And to get to the next level, there always has to be a form of unhappiness to get there. There always has to be a form of something is wrong that you have to change. You're unhappy about it. I believe the most successful people in this world can be fulfilled, but they'll never be truly happy. And that's a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say that to get to this level has required what Paul Graham called, he's the greatest essayist of startups and entrepreneurs. He started Y Combinator, but he said entrepreneurs are relentlessly resourceful. You have to never give up. You have to always know there's an option to bring resources and to attract people and talent and partners and customers. So I think that you just have to believe that it's a calling and a mission with no option is not a failure. Failure is not an option. You just have to do whatever it takes to continue the mission and to fulfill the mission.
Commitment and Yeah, you see that you guys complete each other. And if there's one, back to that, if there's one question you wish I had asked, what would it be? Something that I omitted.
You asked a lot of questions.
I know.
You are a great host. You're a great host. I don't know. I don't know. I think you asked. I don't know.
You think we got it?
I think you got it.
We did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be hard to compete with those other podcasts tomorrow and the next day, like after this one.
Because you're already exhausted.
You guys are good. What?
The scripture that Paul said, I think it ties to a lot to entrepreneurship, where he said, "For the suffering for the present time is not worthy for the rewards of the glory that we shall receive." I feel like you can tie that to life and entrepreneurship, and I just want to hear your take on that and what type of scripture you look to when you're going through the processes of building your business, or just building a family or building a home or a relationship that you guys have.
Where's that scripture in the Book of Mormon? Is it Mosiah or is it Ether? It's there's a prophet named Ether where he talks about God gives men weaknesses to make them into strengths. And so that's always been on my mind. Like he gives us weaknesses and trials so we learn and grow from them to make us stronger. That's always helped me.
I'd like to see Ben on the next podcast. That scripture is awesome. The one he quoted, I can't quote that one, but one scripture that has probably meant the most to me over the last few years and probably led to the answer I gave about being an evangelist of all good things is there's a scripture in the Book of Mormon in near the end that says, "And if ye lay hold upon every good thing, ye will certainly be a child of Christ." Basically, it says all good comes from God. And if you lay hold, and the word lay hold, if you look in Isaiah, when it talks about laying hold of the prey, like a lion lays hold of something. Like it is going to take the prey and like lay hold of it. It's not like a light thing like, oh, I'm going to dabble in this. If ye will lay hold of every good thing, ye certainly will be a child of Christ. So that inspires me to just look for the good in people and look for the good in the world, lay hold of it, evangelize it, and then the end result is really good.
I'm glad I'm not going on a podcast right after this. This is 2 hours of brilliance. Those are good questions. Those are good questions.
Guys are, because it's the chemistry here and
Shake and bake.
Yeah. I gotta go watch that movie again for the third time. That's a good one.
Shake and bake. Shake and bake.
oh my gosh. I thank you guys so much for coming.
Hey, it's an honor.
Catalina.
Thanks for having us on. I'm impressed. All right.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
Appreciate
Well
it.
done, you
Thank you,
guys.
Catalina.
Thank you.